In the constellation of Canis Majoris, 430 light-years away, a relatively large yet mostly unremarkable B-class star of Hadar shines reasonably brightly in the sky. Yet around 4 million years ago, Hadar was the brightest star in the Earth's sky. At a distance of just 34 light-years, it shone with a magnitude of -3.99, and indeed rivaled Venus in brightness. Since then, as far as we know, no other star has attained this brightness since, nor will any other star attain this brightness for at least 5 million years. And if that's the case, what possibly could have been the so-called Star of Bethlehem? Hi everyone, VEGA here, and in today's Christmas special, we're going to discuss the myth and legend that is the Star of Bethlehem and what could it have been. So let's get to it. The Star of Bethlehem, or Christmas star, appears in the nativity story in the biblical Gospel of Matthew. It states that wise men, or magi, from the east were inspired by the star to travel to Jerusalem in accordance with the prophecy that the Jewish Messiah would be born in Bethlehem to the south of Jerusalem. Interestingly, although the Latin magi is usually translated as wise men, it could also unlikely meant astronomer or astrologer. So were the 3 wise men really astronomers? It certainly would be a reason to show such an interest in the star, other than the apparently random belief that perhaps a baby somewhere had been born. And if that's the case, what exactly is it that the 3 wise men saw? Theory 1 involves strange alignments of planets and stars, or conjunctions as they are commonly known. In 1614, German astronomer Johannes Kepler determined that a series of 3 conjunctions of the planets Jupiter and Saturn occurred in the year 7 BC. He argued, incorrectly though, that a planetary conjunction could create a nova, which he linked to the Star of Bethlehem. Modern calculations, though, show that there was a gap of nearly a degree, approximately twice the diameter of the Moon, between the planets, so these conjunctions would not even have been visually impressive. Additionally, an ancient almanac found in Babylon, which covered the events of this period, did not indicate that the conjunctions were of any special interest. However, the possibilities don't end there. Further back, in an estimated 2 BC, so 2 years before the events were supposed to happen, there were apparently a series of 7 conjunctions, including 3 between Jupiter and the star of Regulus, and a strikingly close conjunction between Jupiter, Venus and the star of Regulus on June the 17th, 2 BC. According to the astronomer Roger Sinnott, the fusion of 2 planets would have been a rare and awe-inspiring event. Indeed, the discs of Jupiter and Venus would have appeared to touch. It's quite remarkable in that there has not been as close a Venus-Jupiter conjunction since then. Theory 2 involves the double occultation of the planet Jupiter. The astronomer Michael Molnar suggests that a link between the Star of Bethlehem and a double occultation of Jupiter by the Moon on March the 20th and April the 17th of 6 BC in the constellation of Aries occurred. Occultations are where planets or stars are blocked out by the larger objects in front of them, and occultations of planets by the Moon are quite common. However, the Gospel story is one in which King Herod was taken by surprise. The possibility could be then that Jupiter would have been revealed from behind the Moon after March the 20th, and then almost of a sudden only then to find itself once again behind the Moon on April the 17th, and then once again to pop back out again. Now, although this might seem not all that impressive, we must remember that back then, when the average person knew little to nothing about what stars were, or indeed some of them were not stars at all but planets, I don't think it's a huge stretch to imagine that if we see an unusual celestial event like that, like those that occurred in March and April of 6 BC, that it would actually be extremely noteworthy. According to the Gospel of Matthew, the Bethlehem star was said to have 9 qualities. It signified birth and kingship, and it was related to the Jewish nation. It also rose in the east. King Herod had apparently not been aware of it, and it appeared at an exact time. It also endured over time, and according to Matthew, it was in front of the Magi when they travelled south from Jerusalem to Bethlehem, and then it stopped over Bethlehem. So certainly, double occultation of the planet Jupiter could have fulfilled these criteria. King Herod may have been too busy murdering innocents to have paid much attention. Not only this, but fascinatingly, Jupiter actually continued to move and stopped in its apparent retrograde motion on the 25th of December of 2 BC over the town of Bethlehem. Planets in their orbits have a stationary point. They move eastward through the stars, but as they approach the opposite point in the sky from the Sun, they appear to slow down and come to a full stop, and then indeed move backwards or westward through the sky for some weeks. So this would fit the idea that the star stopped over Bethlehem. Theory 3 is whether it was an asterism or not. The Magi apparently had told Herod that they saw the star in the east, or perhaps according to some translations of east, at its rising. This may imply that the routine appearance of a constellation or an asterism. An asterism is a naked eye star pattern that does not form a constellation on its own. An example of this might be the Big Dipper, which is commonly thought to be a constellation, but in fact only forms part of Ursa Major, the Great Bear. The classical zodiac constellations were a revision of Neo-Babylonian constellations and originated from the 6th century BC, so this means they were well known and established by around the birth of Jesus Christ. Other asterisms include Orion's Belt, or the summer triangle of the bright white stars of Altair, Deneb and Vega. I still remain to be convinced though, as those very same asterisms would surely have appeared every year, and you might imagine it wouldn't be such a surprise to see them again then. Theory 4 involves a comet, and some theorise that the star was indeed a comet. We know that Halley's Comet was visible in 12 BC, and even more intriguingly, another object, which was possibly a comet or a nova, was also seen by both the Chinese and the Korean stargazers in around 5 BC. This object was observed for 70 days, and likewise neither was it uncommon for ancient writers to describe comets as hanging over specific cities, just as the Star of Bethlehem was said to stood over the place where Jesus was born. Comets are certainly surprising when we see them in the skies, although it certainly wouldn't have risen in the east, and it seems unlikely it would appear, disappear and then reappear again, although cloud conditions could of course have enabled this. That said, some however think a comet is an unlikely explanation, as in ancient times, comets were generally seen as a bad omen and unlikely to be associated with the celebration of the birth of a king. The fifth and final theory today is that of a supernova. In 2005, the American cosmologist and mathematician Frank Tipler claimed that the Star of Bethlehem was likely a supernova or hypernova, and it occurred in the nearby Andromeda galaxy. Although it is difficult to detect a supernova remnant in another galaxy, or obtain an accurate date of when it occurred, supernova remnants have been detected in Andromeda. Another theory is that the more likely supernova of February the 23rd, 4 BC, which is also known as PSR 1913+16, or the Hulse-Taylor pulsar, said to have appeared in the constellation of Aquila. The nova was recorded historically in not just Palestine, but also China and Korea again. The dates do appear to corroborate with each other, and it's certainly likely that something was evident in the skies around those times. The problem, however, is that given the Andromeda galaxy is so far away, a supernova, while bright in astronomical terms, may struggle to reach even +6 on the magnitude scale from the distance of Andromeda, and would not be remarkable in any sense in the sky. Indeed, the supernova SN 1885A was found to have been originating in the Andromeda galaxy, and is the only one seen in that galaxy so far recorded by astronomers. Although it was the first supernova that was ever seen outside the Milky Way, it was not appreciated at the time just how far away it was. It's also known as Supernova 1885. Its peak magnitude, however, again only reached +5.85 and could easily have gone unnoticed by the average person. Andromeda aside, and unfortunately for this theory, there have not been any remnants found within the Milky Way galaxy that could have been dated back to that time period as things stand. So what do you think, and which one, if indeed any of these theories, matches what you believe to be most true? I think personally for me, the conjunction of Venus, Jupiter and Regulus stands out, as I remember just last spring the conjunction of Saturn and Jupiter was a wonder to behold, and certainly one of the most impressive celestial sights I've seen in my lifetime. With this video, we draw to a close the year and wonder what awaits us in the year 2022. Whatever theory, religion or belief you follow, one thing that unites us all is that we all love to look upwards into the skies and wonder as to what places there might be out there. From three wise men to baby Jesus and beyond, the heavens are indeed an inspiration to us all. Happy Christmas then to all my followers and friends and families, and to all a good night. Thanks for watching, and consider subscribing if you haven't already. Thanks again to those of you who are regular viewers and subscribers. If you want to support the channel further, you could consider buying me a coffee, and I'll link this in the description. If you have any other videos or subjects that you'd like to see brought to life, don't forget to let me know in the comments below. And it could be your idea next week or indeed next year that shows up. Happy Christmas to all of you out there. Take good care of yourselves and look after your friends and family well. and I'll see you on the next one.